Welcome to the Sports Marketing Machine podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Neisser. Today we're talking AI and ticket sales. I'd like to introduce Courtney Rice from WolfCycle AI. Courtney, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
So we're going to talk some ticket sales, we're talking AI, and WolfCycle combines the two of those. So just give our listeners high level, what is WolfCycle?
Yeah, so WolfCycle is an automated intelligence software that we provide to sports and entertainment partners to layer over their sales and retention strategy year over year.
So it uses AI and it helps do some sales outreach, helps with strategy. Kind of walk me through how these pieces come together.
Yeah, so I mean, it starts with a virtual assistant. We tell our partners, this is the one big piece that you have to run with. You need to name your virtual assistant. We're not going to do that. And then outside of that, we get with our teams and we build very strategic outbound campaigns to targeted leads within their database to drive membership sales, group sales, premium, and partnership sales as well.
So you're helping them extract information out of their ticketing software. So they're giving you taking a CSV or a list and you're uploading it into WolfCycle, and WolfCycle's got AI that can understand sentiment as it does the outbound messages. Am I getting this all right?
Yes, so it does. We can understand if somebody's not interested, if they want to be funneled to a rep. Now, what I will say about WolfCycle is we are a managed service, and so we have humans sitting over the top of the artificial intelligence to just provide that additional layer of response protection. And so, you can see a lot of times with generative AI that somebody will respond, hey, I'm not interested in group tickets, but I would be interested in a nightly suite rental. Mm-hmm. We layer over so we don't miss any of those opportunities to pass those over to a seller to try to convert.
That's pretty fascinating. So AI, a lot of teams have used ChatGPT for numerous different reasons, but you have an AI where it's specifically trained to understand natural language processing, understand sentiment, understand these things. Am I getting all this correctly?
Yeah, and so we, based off of the templates we put together, the virtual assistant can denote what level of interest they have and if they want to schedule a meeting or if they need to be funneled off to somebody on the leadership team or another department. And so we have pieces in place to be able to detect all of that.
Oh, that's fantastic. So how did this all come together? What's kind of the origin story of WolfCycle?
Yeah, so our two co-founders, Ryan and Scott, they've known each other for a very long time, and I don't want to do their story justice. So they've worked on different pieces in the industry over the past few years. And so I want to say about 4 years ago, they made the decision to launch WolfCycle. And what they wanted to do was bring this intelligence to all layers of sports and entertainment and provide that strategy from people that have sat in the same chair as them before. And so really where I got started with it when I was at the Sacramento Kings, we invested in a similar tool to WolfCycle. And then, we were the first team to do that. And Ryan was then the second team. Our CEO, when he was at the LA Kings, was the second team to then move forward with that tool. And so we used that for years. And then Ryan and Scott launched their own version that was dedicated directly to empowering efficiencies within sports and entertainment. And it's just been crazy from there.
Yeah, that's awesome. So 4 years later, staff has grown. How many teams are you working with nationwide?
Yeah, it started with 2 people. We're up to 10, but then I would say from a partner standpoint, we are sitting around 125 and growing every week. We're onboarding new partners constantly, and we all say it's just that mass adoption mode of everybody wanting to get on board.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Because I'm sure if you think about sports teams, I'm just going to use University of Southern California. They've got football programs. They probably have an email list or ticket buyers from the last 3 years. It's in the hundreds of thousands because of how big the stadium is there. So how would this work? They come to you and say, okay, can you help us, Courtney? What would this look like? What would step 1 look like?
Yeah, I think it's custom per partner because what are they trying, what initiatives and goals are they driving towards? Is it a revenue play? Is it an FSE play? Is it an attendance? What exactly are we looking to help fill? And from there, we will take that and recommend what type of campaigns to do. And so, for a program like USC, if they want to drive new memberships, like that's the type of campaign we'll pull for. And then given the amount of teams we're working with, we help talk through what type of audiences to go after too, where we've seen the highest engagement.
Oh, that's fantastic. And they can run multiple campaigns at the same time, or is it just one campaign? Hey, we're just doing group sales this month or memberships this month. How would that look?
So each virtual assistant is fluid. So they can be running multiple campaigns across all verticals, but what it really comes down to is the amount of leads they want to hit in a certain window. And so based off of that, we kind of dial back into, hey, based off of those 1,000 leads for this campaign, this is what you can do for your group sales campaign too. So we just want to make sure that the bandwidth is managed and that we're maximizing the outreach.
Yeah, I love this, and you're working with the team. You've got a lot of experience with sports, and you've got folks on the staff that have worked in sports, made sales calls, have done it all, understands the efficiencies and understands strategy. So when you sit down with team, you're talking through, okay, what are your goals? You're trying to hit groups, you're trying to sell more season tickets, trying to do more single games, and then from there, you just set things up and off it goes, right?
Yeah, and then, I think, one of the things we talked about is we're a managed service, and so a lot of times you do a partnership with a SaaS company and, excuse me, they say, okay, here it is, here's the onboarding, you run with it, you've got this. And then it's like, okay, I need to figure out how to make this work for my organization. We come in and we handle that strategy alongside them throughout the entire partnership. So we do bi-weekly status meetings with every partner where we talk through active campaigns, ROI, future campaigns. We drive all of that. And we have copywriters on staff who will cultivate that copy for them, so they don't have to sit down and be like, okay, I got to put together another new membership campaign copy with 5 touch points to go out. We'll cultivate that for them and let them make edits. And so we are constantly finding ways to just drive that initiative forward so that they don't have to think about it.
So inside of WolfCycle, let's use USC as an example. So we've got the list, we've gone through the strategy. We say, hey, we're going to go after memberships. The WolfCycle is going to go out, the software is going to run, and the AI is going to send out emails every single day. If someone doesn't respond, it's going to send a follow-up email a week later or what have you, right? And if someone does respond, the AI is going to respond on behalf of the staff, and like they're an employee, right? They're just a virtual employee.
Yeah, they are. So that, the signature is ticket sales and service coordinator, partnerships coordinator. Now, one of the things we do is we like to manage the responses before they're sent out. So the AI piece will cultivate the message and our team layers over the top to approve it before we go out, because we want to make sure that if it is a response that is unique and needs customization, that the software isn't just driving a generic response. So we provide another layer of automated intelligence beyond the AI.
Yeah, love it. So this makes it super simple, and from a team perspective, you're a whole lot more efficient, because I know there's some teams out there, you can't call 150 people in a day. Those days are long behind us, right?
Yeah.
You can't expect your inside sales team to do the same thing. It's just simply not that hard, not that easy right now. So I love the fact that WolfCycle can help with this, and it just does the outbound reach. So let's talk a little bit about some success stories.
Yeah. There's so many ways we can go. And this, I think when people started using technology like this, they really just looked at it from a new business season ticket member campaign standpoint. And we've been able to find success across every vertical that's producing revenue or retaining their revenue. And so one thing I will say about the software and the strategy that we work on is, when you have a sales team in place, like, they're going to go after the leads that they think are the best, assumptions made or not, right?
Yep.
Our virtual assistants don't make assumptions. They're going to do all 5 touch points regardless of who the person is, and then funnel the leads over for the sales team to handle that low-hanging fruit. But across the board, we've seen successes in every league, from generating additional full seasons to driving partnership conversations, and we uncover every single rock that's out there for them.
Love it. Yeah, oftentimes as a ticket sales rep, I can remember just selling group tickets. It's like, I don't think this is a good lead. I'm going to call this group instead. Whereas your AI is just we're going to reach out to everybody and let's see what happens, right?
Yeah, and I think even about like interest forms, if you don't get a hold of an interest form person within a couple touch points, most sellers are like, all right, I'm going to close this out. That we see teams funnel those meta forms into us now to start that conversation, to book the meetings for the sellers so that they can focus on the best conversations and not have to chase people that maybe haphazardly submitted an interest form at some point.
Sure. So your AI's going after these folks and trying to get them to come back and at least have more dialogue with the sales team and see the sales team does what it needs to do. And from a sales team perspective, you would prefer them working the warmest leads, truth be told, because if they're spending a lot of time doing outbound cold sales, they're not getting closer to hitting their goals. So.
Right, and so we're uncovering that for them. Even non-renewed season ticket members is a great example of that because they opted out or they said they're not coming back and they'll change their mind a couple months later. Let us find those people again for you so you can focus on people that are ready to buy that day. And so I think we've seen a lot of success expanding into leads that normally would stay with the seller to warm them up for them first. But we will funnel any lead through our system because we know that we're going to get the optimized amount of touch points in.
So when I think low-hanging fruit, oftentimes it's fans who've been to multiple games a season. These are great people to sell mini plans or season tickets or what have you. Do you see teams kind of give the single game, first known buyer list to WolfCycle and kind of take the multi-game buyer? Or is it a little bit of both? It depends how many people's on the list?
Yeah, I think it comes down to lead size a bit and then also what initiatives we're chasing after. But I mean, we see teams funnel every type of lead in for us. With the closed loss to no phone numbers to non-renewed members. We're even doing retention campaigns right now where we're renewing accounts and then doing mid-season touch points with current members that may be at risk. And so with having complete white space in WolfCycle to write whatever we want and being able to customize that message, it just creates a lot of fluidity for the teams to be able to jump in and say, I want you to touch every lead type we have.
So have you saw teams go out and buy leads from a company and then use those and dump them or put them into WolfCycle and off they go?
Yeah, we see a lot of people do cold B2B that way, where they'll pull 10,000 leads and we'll go through an evergreen B2B outreach just to drive appointments for the sellers. That has become like a pretty big constant with a lot of our teams across different leads is just continuing that 5 touch point outreach to every business in the a 45-mile radius.
Yeah, love it. So we've been talking a lot on the ticket sales side. I'm sure teams could use WolfCycle for sponsorship outreach, right?
They could, and we are definitely getting into that cadence with some of our teams. Think open category. We can target open categories, drive for meetings. We've had a lot of success doing that. With the complete white space that I mentioned, we can do custom rep dynamic sentences to call out specific things about each brand and do more of a rep customized campaign. And we've even done jersey patch outreach to national brands. And so we play in all spaces on the sponsorship side too.
Yeah, so you can be very creative however you want to do this. You want to do group sales outreach one month, you want to do cold leads, you name it, you could do it for whatever it is that you have. If you've got a database that's big enough, WolfCycle can help you here. Or even if you don't and you're going to go out and acquire a list, you could still use WolfCycle.
Yeah, and I think when you say that to some of our partners, it's kind of like, okay, well then where do I start?
Yep. So that's where strategy comes in.
Yeah, it's like almost a little bit overwhelming. They're like, okay, so I have this many virtual assistants and I can do all of this. And so that's where we come in and we'll say, hey, based off of what we've heard from you all, here's exactly how we would use this. And here's the lead sources we would start with and audience sizes. And so we try to just make it a no-brainer of, okay, yes, let's do that. Let me see the copy and let's go.
Now, are you comfortable talking about success stories?
Yeah.
Okay. What are some teams that you've worked with that you're okay sharing and they're okay you sharing that have used WolfCycle and have seen some revenue increases?
Yeah. It's been across the board. I think I can talk about, going out to single game buyers and cultivating that. And so at one of our partners, I can share this one because we were just talking about sponsorships. At one of our partners in the MLB, we were doing outreach for new memberships, got through the 4 or 5 touch point cadence and received a response, hey, I'm not interested in ticketing, but I would be interested in exploring a sponsorship with you all further. So with generative AI, that would just be a non-interested cadence. Since we layer over the top, we caught that one, we passed it to the sponsorship team, and they were able to close a sponsorship from that cadence.
Fantastic.
So cross-selling at its finest by a virtual assistant. Another thing that we're seeing a lot of success with one of our NFL partners, we have taken their premium ticket transfers and go through just more of an awareness campaign, but driving for an appointment with the rep to learn more about what they have to offer. And, this premium transfer prospect, I believe, was 2-3 years old, and we were just going, that's a great example of leads a rep's never going to touch. So
Correct.
We're going through this 5 touch point campaign, and they reached out with some interest, raised their hands. We did the handover, and the rep was able to close them for 5 PSLs for $700,000. So, you think a rep maybe would get to out of the blue at some point, or a marketing email goes out to them one time and they open it and maybe they raise their hand, but funneling a lead like that through our system guarantees that they're going to get engagement that they're not going to receive with the sales team. And so we were able to create that opportunity for them. One other example I'll show you or talk to you about that I think has been really successful that we're replicating that, doesn't have a true ROI, new revenue number tied to it, but we've started to really play in the retention space. And so we went out to at-risk accounts with one of our MBA partners and just did a mid-season engagement touch point to see how they were feeling. We got some responses where they said, hey, I'm thinking about opting out. And so it's just nice to get a response like that before the auto renewal or opt-out period, so that the service rep can then go and say, okay, what can I do to get this person back on board proactively and not wait knowing that they're not attending games or this isn't, you know what I mean? And so we helped create some additional saves conversations for them well in advance of their renewal period. And so that went really well. They saved some of those accounts, and we're going to bring it back again this time around.
That's such a marvelous point. So looking at data from sports teams, I can see scan rates of season ticket holders. It's a great example where last year X season ticket holder was at 50%, this year at 30%. I'm like, these are the people that have warning messages you need to reach out to figure out how you can help them use your tickets. But sometimes the ticket sales staff has got a lot going on, they're busy. This is such a great way to be able to follow back up and just say, hey, what's going on? How can we help you use your tickets and save season ticket holders? And oftentimes that's the lifeblood for a lot of teams, for sure.
It is, and it's just nice to be able to create those proactive conversations for them so that they know where to focus their time, and they're not, sometimes introducing a new voice into the conversation on the service side, but while still saying, hey, I'm reaching out on behalf of Jeremy, your service representative. I wanted to check in and see, scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling with your membership, whatever it may be. It's just nice to be able to help create that engagement.
Yeah, and I think that is definitely one of the levers that teams should be focusing on, is how do we get people to use their tickets, because that increases per cap, sells more merch, all the things, right? And then the second piece is, how do you turn first known buyers, single game people who've only been to one game this year, how do you get them to multiple games? And I think that's a spot there too that you could use it, right?
Yeah, we can. We even have some click to buy campaigns going on right now in the NHL where they've released their 6-game packs and their flex plans. And so we'll take some of those multi-game buyers and put them through a cadence where they can go direct to purchase instead of driving to a rep. We see the most success when we drive to a seller, but what we can do is those 6-game pack purchasers are then funneled into a campaign with us for upsell afterwards too. So we just create new layers of trying to top-down sell them. But click to buy is very popular, and that's a great way to get a single game buyer into multi-game by creating that awareness around some of these more flexible plans that everybody's coming out with.
Yep. In fact, I did an email just the other day. I went to an Oakland A's game, bought a ticket for the family, and got an email the other day about a specific flexible plan that was only available to people who are single game buyers, first known buyers, and what have you. So I know exactly what you're talking about, and
Yeah.
it works because I looked at the plan. I was like, actually, this is a good deal. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
And people
totally
aren't
get it.
aware of that. You even think about, I only want to go to games on weekends. Like, there's so many people that will buy a single game ticket off the secondary that had no idea they could have gone and purchased a weekend plan and had that flexibility around their schedule. And so we as they get through their sales cycle, you'll see our, especially new business initiatives going from full season to half to mini to flex, and we'll funnel people through all of those cadences. And so sometimes you'll see a lead that's been in the system and they've been through 4 campaigns, and we get to the flex and they're like, hey, I'm interested in this. And you can see this whole life cycle of engagement that we've gone through where they didn't engage with full seasons, they said not interested in this, whatever it may be. And so we track that too, and can show that this continuous engagement from a sales cycle standpoint can help bring people back to the stadium and arena.
I love the fact that you're talking about the data side of things. So when you're sitting down and you're doing these success calls and these weekly or bi-weekly or every month or however your calls are with teams, and you structure those, but you sit down, you can actually show them, hey, this person has shown interest and we've sent them 38 emails, right? So you've got a lot of data, right?
Yeah, we do. We can see how many emails they've received, if they've responded, opens, clicks, all of that. Now, one of the things we talk to our partners about a lot is we can only see everything up until it's handed to a rep, right? And then the ROI from a revenue standpoint is what we need them to report back to us on, because here's where the gap could exist that we constantly try to fill. Is we could do what we think is a phenomenal campaign. We do, 100 handovers. There are 25 of them booked directly for a meeting, and we're like, okay, this is great. We love this. And then we hear back from the team and they're like, hey, they didn't know that they were going to be buying a membership. Like, we need to be more direct about this. Or,
Sure.
we didn't convert as many on this. And so that gives us the chance to then go back in and alter the copy, talk about the leads that we're going after, and then give it another try. And so that helps create the ROI even better at that point. And so that's what we try to talk about on the status calls too.
Yeah, and that's probably one of the things too, knowing your experience, and you say, okay, we handed over 100 of these. We've got pretty good polished emails. The folks that we've handed over, and you've only closed 10, you could probably know if you're working with a good sales team or not, right?
100%. And that's why we do rep onboarding. We talk through how to handle these types of leads and like what it means when they come over. And, our director of client success is from the team side. Like, we've all kind of been in their shoes at different points in time. So, we try to set them up for success as much as possible. And the nice thing about our system too is we can variant test, we can do A/B testing to see what type of copy works best. And so we have a bunch of different levers we can pull to try to create revenue.
At the end of the day, just trying to help teams sell more tickets quickly and more efficiently. That's it.
100%. That's it. Yeah. And
So-
not have them have to overthink about it.
That's true. Let's only work on the warm leads and the people that are interested in buying seats and checking out seats and doing tours and all those things. So
Yeah.
absolutely. So AI is something that consistently changes. It seems like every single day it's changing, and the direction of where AI is going and new softwares that are coming out for folks to be able to use to do all kinds of different things, make life simpler. WolfCycle, you're in the business of helping teams and events sell more tickets and help teams be more efficient. So what's next for y'all?
God, that's like the $1 million question. You can go down so many different avenues with that. And so, I think for us, we're going to look to find new ways to communicate, right, beyond email in an automated, intelligent way. And so I think we'll always offer some layer of human intelligence over the top of our AI, just so that we can cultivate the right message for them for some of those one-off cases. But you see people doing text, voice, right? Like, I think there's so many things that we could get into. And then we talked about this a little bit before, but just how do we get smarter with our data, and who do we partner with on those things too? And so I think anything that can help pull that lever to drive revenue and attendance for a partner is what we're going to explore.
Absolutely. When you can tie data together with it and you're making smart outreaches to specific people, you just get leads faster to teams and they can make the phone calls and close them. So I think that's such a smart way to think about it is, hey, we're going towards the data route rather than expanding this. But I love the texting. Teams have been using texting. There's several different companies, Vazi and Layla. There's a bunch out there that do a really good job to help teams. But I think that's such a unique way too, is how do we layer this into the texting world? Because teams have had success with it, right?
Yeah, they have. And, I used a texting company called Avocado at my last company, and they were coming out with an AI feature. And so, I think that the one thing I've learned from just a sales enablement and efficiency standpoint is that the less places you have your staff in, the more efficient they're going to be. And so if they're in WolfCycle and 5 other tech partners, then they're in their Outlook, and then they're in their CRM, it's like they're going to get lost in their day. And so I think for us, the efficiency is how can we blend as many things into one space where they're just living in their Outlook and their CRM, and that's where they find the most efficiency and can manage their day. And so that's what we're going to focus on is just streamlining it for them.
Mm-hmm. I think about universities, student support, getting students to sporting events. Oftentimes, the high level, it's easy at University of Alabama and USC and some of these, but your mid-majors, even some of your Big East basketball teams, some of those, but they feel like it's harder to get students. You could use WolfCycle on the email side to do it, but then eventually if you evolve to the texting, I think that would work as well, right?
Yeah, I think so, because you have a 99% open rate with text, right? Everybody's on their phone all the time. Yep. I would say, if you call me, I'm probably not going to answer it, but if you text me, I will probably read it within 2 minutes and respond if I can. And so it's the easiest way. I think one of the things that we see a lot of our collegiate partners focusing on is just engaging in young alumni to come back and be involved too. And so we see a lot of campaigns around that, about building awareness on what you can do as a young alumni and what type of special offers you have as you enter the job market and the world of not living in the college space anymore. And so we see a lot of our collegiate teams just trying to drive awareness to this new generation that's leaving and jumping into the workforce.
And I think about this as well, the opportunity to help college and universities kind of on the donation side of things and the philanthropy side. It's such a great opportunity where they can't hit all the alums, and they're probably working with the top 100, but all those other folks, they want to donate in some form or fashion. So I think WolfCycle is a great opportunity to be able to help with that.
Yeah, and what I appreciate too with the donation campaigns we've done is we can build that draft copy for them, but then we want to make sure that the brand and the voice that we're going out with is authentic to that team. And so we've tried a ton of A/B testing on the donation side to just see what people will respond better with on. And so, between young alumni, donations, and then just driving packages, even Olympic sports as well, those are all areas that we've supported in.
So whether if you're at the major league level, on the highest level, or even at the minor league level, or even semi-pro and what have you, WolfCycle's got something for you to be able to help you sell more tickets. And you've got the strategy behind it by sitting down with the teams and helping them understand what's best for them.
100%. And being that managed service, we're spending that same dedicated time with every partner, regardless of what league you're in. And so we work on a monthly retainer. We're not a long-term contract partner. We want to work for your business month over month, and so we know we need to earn it. And so that's how we present to everybody. We'll take the time to make sure whatever you need to fill, we're helping build that strategy with you.
Love it. So if a team is interested, or a university, whomever it may be, what's the best way to get a hold of y'all?
Email me.
I will put your email in the show notes.
WolfCycle.ai. Yeah. Look, we turn, as soon as we receive a request for a demo, we'll get that scheduled within 48 hours, and we'll move as fast as you and your team can. And so, we've turned teams on within a week of having conversations because they're ready to go, legal's ready to go, and we get them up and running. And so I can take any conversation, and we have a VP on our business development side that has worked with teams all around the country, and so we would take any conversation if somebody's interested.
Fantastic. Well, Courtney, I appreciate your time. Love talking WolfCycle. Love talking the evolution of selling more tickets and making it easier for teams. And I'm going to put your link in the show notes of WolfCycle and then your email address as well. So if teams reach out, just tell Courtney, hey, appreciate you coming on the podcast, and thanks for the information there. And I appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks, Jeremy. I appreciate you having me. It's been great.